Most improved rosters after the draft. That's today's draft, and I didn't notice it, so I am really going to be flying by the seat of my pants and or pulling this out of my sphincter. Off we go.
I got some teams.
Draft,
I got teams, right? I mean, you know me.
I'll come up with something.
I know you will. I could throw out a bunch of ones for you, and you can decipher through it. Right? I know. I'm just trying to be a friend, because this is the kind of stuff I do on the podcast, so I'm already kind of prepared for it a little bit, right? So
I watch your podcast, so I already know.
You do? Okay, damn. Look at you. Damn, you didn't watch my podcast because you would have said something about all that crap I talked about you on there this week. No, I didn't this week. I didn't say one thing.
I don't watch any. I don't watch any. I don't listen. I don't want anyone else's opinions to affect mine.
Yes, I know. We've made that clear.
We've established that.
Yes. Okay. All right.
So you can say whatever you want about me on your little podcast. And as you've been accused of doing, you can save your best stuff for your podcast and not use it here.
That's right. All right. Well, here's my best stuff, part 2 for you. You got the leftover trash. All right. So, I mean, listen, I'll stay away from Arizona. You can take them if you want. They clearly had a good draft, but we'll make this the Arizona.
I hate the Cardinals.
Okay,
I hate
write an article about it. All right, but yeah, obviously they're in this conversation. I probably should take them if we're going to put it on social media. Is that what we're going to do? I want to make sure they get their credit.
Don't. I really don't like that we do this.
Okay.
I always sense it coming. The thing with the numbers on which quarterbacks 1 to 10, and they made sure they got the numbers down. It's like I really don't need the extra hassle because here's what happens. People see those. And they don't watch this segment. They have no context whatsoever.
I know.
And they don't understand it. Like the receiver trios from the other day.
Right.
You picked the Bears, and I didn't. So they're like, oh, Florio's a dumbass. He didn't pick the Bears. They don't even understand. we don't duplicate. So I really wish. I know we need content for social media, but I really wish we'd come up with something other than these outcomes of putting numbers on or drafts or whatever.
All right, guys. Well, please tell me, are we going to put this on social media? Because I want to be more motivated here. I want to know. Are we putting this on social media?
Go ahead.
All right. Either way, I'm gonna go with Arizona number 1 right off the bat. I'm going with Arizona. I'm gonna give them the respect. I don't give a damn. We just talked about them. I am worried that it's gonna be on social media, and I want them to know that I think their damn draft was good and what they did. Right, biggest draft of their organization and really quite some time. Monty Ossenfort's first draft to really make a dramatic change and shift to the overall roster. Right. Along with, Gannon at head coach, I really like what they did. I'm going to give Arizona props at first here.
All right. Well, I wouldn't pick the Cardinals because I hate the Cardinals, and I also hate the Commanders. So it pains me, Commanders fans, to make the Commanders my first pick. And I hope that any amount of sarcasm is being detected by the folks as I say this. Look, the Commanders needed a quarterback, and they got a guy who might be better end of the day. I love Caleb Williams, but Jaden Daniels might be better than Caleb Williams by the time it's all said and done. That's all TBD. But just by virtue of that pick and how long it's been since they've had a truly great quarterback, they won 3 Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks. When have they really had that guy who's always every year that guy? Joe Theismann was the closest to that for a brief period of time.
Yeah.
Not a long extended stretch.
Won an MVP, went to 2 Super Bowls, right?
But it wasn't 10 years of Mahomes or Brady. I mean, when have they really had that guy in my lifetime? I don't remember it. It's been revolving door that they've gotten a lot out of. Jaden Daniels can become that guy and really usher in this new age of Commanders football that makes everybody happy enough to ignore the crap hole of a stadium that they're stuck in until they can find a new place. And put that screen back up. I'm fascinated by Luke McCaffrey, and I'm surprised the 49ers didn't find a way to snag him. And, of course, it was Adam Peters, previously with the 49ers, who did get Luke McCaffrey. This is a guy who played quarterback, switched to receiver, and it feels like he's just kind of getting started at the position. He was the last pick of round 3. He's got the bloodlines to Ed McCaffrey, who was a sneaky great receiver in his day, and his big brother Christian, the best running back in football right now. I just feel like That's a guy that can really help improve the offense as he gets better and better and more comfortable. They addressed a lot of needs. They have a lot of needs. The roster needs to improve, but it starts with the very real possibility that they have themselves a franchise quarterback who could be better than the guy who went first overall when it's all said and done.
Hey, I hear you there. He's got special talent. There's no doubt about that. You look at this list right here, and we know, you said it, Jaden Daniels, awesome. Jerzon Newton was a guy that, was a part of that cluster group of guys that we thought maybe could go at the end of the first round. But, athletic defensive tackle who can disrupt, can hold his ground, that's an awesome pick. Mike Sainristil still, the nickel from Michigan, right? And, Mike, if you didn't pick the Commanders, I would have. So I'm in agreement with you. They're right up there here. But Sainristil still, he's got a chance to be like one of the best nickels in football in the next 2 or 3 years. He's special that way. He's made for the current NFL in that position. Sanat from Kansas State is definitely one of the 2 or 3 best tight ends of the draft. So they get him. They address that. You talk about McCaffrey. Man, even the Dominique Hampton at the end of the 5th round is a good little player. So they address needs. They got good players. They got it all. And I'm with you. Good job by the Commanders in this draft. All right, my pick here. I'm going to go with the Bengals. The Cincinnati Bengals. Yes, I am. I really liked what the Bengals did. One, getting, what a guy could be, another guy where, hey, it could be he wasn't the top guy or whatever. Amarius Mims has the talent and the size to be the best tackle in football. So they got him. And, of course, they need that. And we know how much Joe Burrow's been beat up through the early part of his career. And then, hey, they signed Trent Brown. And Trent Brown was kind of, hurt a little bit last year. You don't know how much you can depend on him. So I just like the signing altogether for now, the future, or whatever. And they have the 3 biggest tackles in the history of football all on the same team. It's pretty incredible. But then we know they lost DJ Reader. They need interior defensive linemen. Chris Jenkins was one of the safest, most solid picks of the draft. Maybe not a superstar, but does everything good. Jermaine Burton from Alabama, Mike, right? He was a transfer from Georgia. Jermaine Burton is one of those guys where I go, if he had some of the other Alabama teams around him, some of the other quarterbacks with the other 3 first-round receivers with him, I think he would have been a first-rounder. But he was kind of stuck in an offense that didn't throw the ball that much. Nobody was worried about any of those receivers. I think he is going to be an unbelievable Tyler Boyd replacement, right? So I love that. McKinley Jackson from A&M is really good. And they got 2 tight ends that got a chance as well. And Tanner McLachlan from Arizona, who's an athletic pass-catching tight end, and Eric All, who could kind of do both out of Iowa. Yeah, Cincinnati, good draft by them. We're really well done.
We talked about this team yesterday, I believe. Again, all the days are really running together now that we're rocketing into the post-draft period of the calendar. But the Rams, after all those years of F them picks, and what happens when you have that attitude is you lose the nucleus of young talent that develops into your core. They've been lucky because some mid to late round guys they've hit on between Puka Nacua and Kobe Turner, so they still have some semblance of that. But this was the year to go all out with a bunch of new guys who can come in and really make a difference. The 2 Florida State guys right off the bat, led by Jared Verse, the first rounder. And Blake Corum, I feel bad for him because I like the Rams really didn't need him.
No.
They've got Kyron Williams last year, who was great.
He's awesome.
And now you kind of dilute that, and they're going for apparently quantity. And hey, we've seen what's happened with the Rams at the running back position in recent years. Like, guys get injured all the time.
That's what.
So let's have 2 guys who can do the exact same thing.
That's right.
So
they've gotten so good at the run.
It's either going to be Williams or Corum.
Yeah, you're right. And they've gotten so good at the run. I think that they're going, wait, we can't abandon this if somebody gets hurt, right? It's a little bit of the Shanahan 49ers thing. Like, we need to keep these running backs going. Sorry, Mike, I didn't want to keep you going, but that was a good point by you.
No, but yeah, and I want Corum to have a chance to go be the workhorse somewhere, but it's going to be whichever guy's healthy is going to get the lion's share, and if they're both healthy, they're going to share it. And that extends both of their careers, but it keeps each of them from becoming the guy they could be. But I love that pick for them, and it's amazing to see that many names attached to the Rams. And when you consider that they have somehow found the secret sauce to turn those late round picks into players, they may have come out of this with a bunch of guys who are going to be a key part of this franchise as Sean McVay gets into this second act where he bottomed out after the 2022 season, really thought about leaving. And it's so funny. People are like, well, he didn't leave, so he was never thinking about leaving. Don't you understand how things work? People wrestle with decisions. They make a decision. And just because they stay doesn't mean they weren't thinking about the alternative. We all know, those of us who are in the bubble, know that he was thinking about leaving after the 2022 season. He didn't, and now he's kind of got his second wind. And this group of players, coupled with what they did last year, can really help rejuvenate him and carry him forward. Once they get the quarterback situation figured out long term, that may be the thing that carries McVay. Like he won't do. We assumed at some point he was going to do the John Gruden 10 years of being the lead analyst at one of the networks. That may never happen.
No, you're right. It's almost like, it's a little – I don't want to say New England-y or whatever, but they maybe like the Chiefs the last few years, right? They refreshed the team on a roll on the run here, and really only had one kind of lull in their little transition, and that was 2 years ago. Last year, to your point, the young nucleus, they showed out. In a big way. And I'm with you, Mike. Definitely one of the best drafts in all of the NFL. Another team like we talked about with Arizona where you go, there's Kobe Turner, but wait, who's somebody else on their front seven? I don't know. Well, we're going to know now. They got two Florida State kids who can, F the play up for sure. Jared Verse on the edge, get a real pass rusher over there. And then Braden Fisk, who is, they know how to use athletic D tackles. He's one of the most athletic guys you're ever going to see. For what did he weigh in? I just want to make sure I get this. 292 pounds, right? Only like the Aaron Donalds of the world are more athletic than this guy in this little area. And he's another guy that's going to be disruptive and flying through the D line and offensive line. And so I really did like that pick by the Rams and addressing the front seven problems. And then, of course, like you said, Blake Corum, the Brennan Jackson kid from Washington State, another edge guy who's just a good overall football player. Yeah, I think the Rams got something working, and I think they're going to be a real player in the NFC this year.
All right, round 3, you're up.
Okay, round 3, man, I got so many teams here. Here's one that I don't think is maybe it might be void of the sexy splash names and all of that, but where I love it, the Baltimore Ravens, right, for a good football team, and we think they're going to be right up there, sneakily have a lot of needs, more than you expect for a team that you go, wait, they were in the AFC Championship game, and it was their year to win the Super Bowl, and they should have won it. This was their year, and it didn't happen. And then you look at the roster and go, damn, they lost a few players, trade a few guys, and all of a sudden you sit and go, well, damn, one of the best teams in football actually does have some spots that need to be filled. Need a corner. They're getting older at that spot. Nate Wiggins can shut down man-to-man guy. That's my cup of tea. So that's an awesome pick. Tackle, offensive lineman. We hit on this, before the draft. Something that they need to address. Roger Rosengarten from Washington. He's NFL ready, let alone if he doesn't play year one, he'll be ready to go, and he's got a little versatility about him. Good pass rusher of Isaac out of Penn State. Devontae Walker can really run and be a speed guy at receiver. And then they got another corner because they needed more than one. And TJ Tampa, who can be hey, Nate Wiggins, you're the big, the corner who locks down people man-to-man. And TJ Tampa can be hey, I'll cover T. Higgins. I'm a little bit bigger. I'm not as fast as a Nate Wiggins, but I'm a little more physical, and I can match up with that type of guy. Really thought they addressed a lot of needs and got some players that, weren't a part of the mainstream conversation of draft talk, right? But, were really damn good players that I think a lot of people respected.
I'm going to pivot from quantity with the Rams.
Yeah.
To quality.
Yeah, I know.
The Bears. I got dragged for leaving the Bears off of the top trios because we don't overlap. But who were the two guys we liked the most at the scouting combine?
Yeah.
Who were they?
Right. Caleb and Odunze. We thought they were the stars, the two personalities we loved. Right.
The talent is a given, or they're not even in the conversation. You combine the talent with personalities that scream out superstar. complimentary superstar, not Chicago's not big enough for Baker Mayfield and OBJ. I remember that was my first thought.
It was.
When the Browns traded for Beckham 5 years ago. That town isn't big enough for those two egos and personalities. I don't mean that as a criticism. It's just a reality. I think Williams and Odunze find a way to, because they're coming in together, joined at the hip. These are the guys, and they both have the right mentality, the right makeup, the right personality, the right everything, coupled with the talent, that I don't care that they only had 4 picks. I think that, and to not hesitate at 9.
Yeah.
Well, we got DJ Moore and Keenan Allen. Yeah, you got Keenan Allen for maybe 1 more year.
That's right.
And maybe 2. 3 at the absolute most. And you need to have 3 receivers. I remember it used to be in the NFL, well, we can't really afford to pay 2 receivers. Well, now you got to have 2 receivers you pay and maybe a third one, especially if you're, this is the sharpest pivot the Bears have ever made to offense.
Yeah, it is.
They've never had a great offense. They had Walter Payton, but that wasn't a great offense. They never had a great passing game with Walter Payton, which is like, how do you not develop a great passing game when you've got this guy who's going to have 11 guys making a beeline for him every time he touches the football? That should open up everything for you in a passing attack, and they never had that. It has been since Sid Luckman retired after the 1950 season that the Bears have had a franchise quarterback, and now they've got the pieces between what they already had and what they've added just in the first 9 picks of the draft to completely transform that team into something we have never seen in a Bears uniform.
That's right. With a defense we know that was, top 10-ish last year, right? I mean, they were damn good. And I know they ended up the season as the number 12th ranked defense in football, but I think they were better than that. And, of course, we know they had some offensive issues, and Justin Fields got hurt a few times, and that hurt the defense a little bit because they had to be on the field a lot. But yeah, I'm with you. I mean, that was a damn good pick. And Odunze, like we talked about with Marvin Harrison Jr., I think by the NFL standards was looked at as one of the safer picks of the draft and made for the NFL, right? Good size, pedigree, charismatic, like you said, smart, and an incredible route runner. And you couple that with a guy like DJ Moore and a Keenan Allen, and they got something working there in Chicago. And added to that, right? Oh, there it is. There it is. Look at that. Look at that. They'll be so happy with you, Mike, in Chicago. You put them on the list. But the other thing, too, in the 5th round, they got Austin Booker, who was one of my favorite pass rushers in the draft. He's young. He's long, right? He's a little raw, but he's going to be a damn good player. The other team that we didn't hit on, right, that we probably just like the Eagles. The Eagles, again, I mean, it's a superstar team, and then they have 2 spots where you're like, well, they need somebody better there, and they got like the 2 best people in the draft at that position. So I just want to give them love one more time as we go out to commercial here.
Remember last year, like, people were so sick of the Eagles' praise. There was this backlash by people around the league. Like, how about other teams? Why are you talking about the Eagles all the time?
Right.
But you know what? They've got it figured out. Every year, they don't even have needs by the time we get to the draft. It's luxury picks. And if they have an area of need, corner, they get 2 great players fall right to them.
It's incredible.
It's amazing.
Incredible.
It really is. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.